This French fry casserole recipe is going to be amazing. Whether you're looking to give new life to leftover French fries or you want to try something different, this recipe is for you. This French fry casserole has no meat, but you could definitely add some because this recipe is extremely versatile. Like I said, this is vegetarian, so it would be great for a Meatless Monday or a side dish, a snack. Basically, whenever you are in the mood for French fries and you want something different, I think this casserole would be for you. I started out by making some French fries. One 32-ounce bag of frozen French fries, 2 pounds, that is 907 grams. They were frozen and I just followed the directions on the package. I did them in 3 batches, baked them at 425 Fahrenheit for 18 minutes. If you are baking your French fries and there's a range of times, you probably want to go towards the lower end of that range because since you're going to bake this in the oven again, you don't want them to be overcooked. Honestly, I think I probably could have done 15 minutes, but I like mine to be really crispy, so I went with the full 18. But like I said, just keep in mind that you don't want to overbake them at the beginning. I'm also adding some onions and bell pepper. I'm adding 300 grams, so a medium onion, and then about 300 grams total, maybe 3/4 of a pound of red bell pepper and green bell pepper. So I'm doing kind of a potatoes O'Brien thing. I put everything in a pan with a tablespoon of butter and a tablespoon of canola oil, and I sauteed everything for 10 minutes on medium heat. That's going to add a ton of color and flavor. Of course, I'm going to add some cheese to my French fry casserole, 8 ounces of Colby Jack. I'm kind of going through a Colby Jack phase right now, but honestly, I think anything would work. I'm going to add some spices, half a teaspoon each of garlic powder, onion powder, and black pepper, 2 eggs to hold everything together, and of course some sour cream, which appears in almost all my casseroles. I'm doing a cup as I measure 240 grams, along with 1 packet of onion soup mix. I believe it's around 30 grams-ish. I really like onion, and I think potato and onions go together really well, so that's why I'm adding a lot of onion to my French fry casserole with cheese. I have a 9x13 casserole dish that is buttered. Honestly, I probably should mix this in a mixing bowl, but I don't want to go through the, as the Argentines would say, the quilombo of cleaning something else. So I'm just going to mix everything in here. Like I said, I'm just going to take my fries and everything and just put everything into the dish. I thought about cutting up these French fries into smaller pieces because just like with the squash and zucchini casserole that I made, I grated everything on a cheese grater because I wanted everything to, instead of having big bites of something, I wanted you to have a little bit of this and a little bit of that in every bite. And I think that that would be better. That would be easier to do with, by chopping up the French fries, but at the same time, when people think of a French fry casserole, they think of actual French fries. So I think from an aesthetic point of view, keeping them whole is best. I'm probably gonna mash them down a bit, but I think it's gonna be okay. Now my fries, onions, and bell peppers are in my casserole dish. I'm sure you can see this smaller 8x8 casserole dish over here. I'm gonna tell you what happened as I add the cheese. When I first put the fries into the 9x13, I thought, you know what? I don't know if it's going to be enough. It looks kind of like it's not going to have any depth to it. So then I took out the fries and I put them in that 8x8 dish. And even though they fit pretty well in there, I realized once I add the vegetables and once I add the cheese to the casserole, it's going to be overflowing. So actually, I think this is what I want, the 9x13. Sometimes in the kitchen, you have to think on your feet. I'm going to mix this in because I'm envisioning it all being mixed together. Then I'm going to mix in the sour cream, eggs, and onion soup mix. Yes, just as I had predicted, once the cheese and vegetables were in the casserole, you can see it definitely would be way too much for the 8x8. Now I'm going to add the sour cream and everything else. I know that I have a spoon here, but honestly I think that a spatula is the best way to mix this, along with a knife or another spoon to help push everything off of the spatula as you're mixing it. It is a bit of quilombo, but it's going to be worth it. Spices, half a teaspoon each. And then my onion soup mix. The eggs I'm going to crack in another bowl and add in. I ended up adding 2 more tablespoons of sour cream, an extra 30 grams, for a total of 270 grams of sour cream. I managed to get everything flattened down. I just went through with a spatula and flattened it like that. I packed it down as best as I could, but as you can see, most of the French fries are still whole. Now I'm going to bake this casserole at 350 uncovered for, I'm guessing, 40 to 45 minutes, maybe a bit less. I'll let you know. I just took the casserole out of the oven. It was in at 350 Fahrenheit uncovered for 45 minutes. As you can see, my French fry casserole with no meat looked absolutely incredible. I loved how when I looked down on the casserole, I saw a lot of whole golden brown fries. The orange of the cheese and the colors of the bell peppers adding to the color. I have to admit, it was quite a test in patience to let it cool down before digging in. And as expected, when I took the first bite, I was blown away. This French fry casserole was one of the best things that I have eaten this year. And in all honesty, it was one of the best things that I have eaten in quite a long time, probably multiple years. French fries on their own are definitely good, but when you mix French fries with sour cream, onions, and cheese, the result is absolutely incredible. Although I was somewhat afraid that the sour cream and eggs might make the French fries a bit soggy, I didn't think they got soggy. They were exactly the texture that I thought that they were going to be. Crispy on the outside and soft on the inside. Of course, the top of the casserole was a little bit crispier than the inside or the bottom, but don't get me wrong. This casserole and the fries in it were not soggy by any stretch of the imagination. I knew this casserole was going to be good, but to be honest, I didn't think it was going to be quite as good as it was. And now that you're viewing it up close, I'm sure that you can see why. I felt like all flavors and textures were equally balanced. Every single ingredient playing an important part in making this French fry casserole with no meat exceptionally delicious. But honestly, I would say that the best secret ingredient in this casserole is probably the onion soup mix. Because later on, I made a tater tot casserole, and when I put it into the oven, I knew I was forgetting something, but I couldn't quite figure out why. And when I tasted it, I said, something is missing. And then I realized, oh, I forgot to put in the onion soup mix. If you don't want to add a can of condensed cream of chicken or cream of mushroom soup to your French fry casserole, then I definitely think that the combination of sour cream and onion soup mix is a must. Although there was no meat in this French fry casserole, I think you could definitely add some if you wanted. You could add ground beef to the onions, or maybe ground chicken or turkey. Or, like when I made my curly fry version, I added some smoked ham and it was absolutely incredible. So as you can see, this French fry casserole with no meat is definitely very versatile. In addition to just being delicious because of the flavors and the textures, I think that this dish would definitely be a showstopper. While doing some research for this recipe, I didn't see anything quite like it on YouTube or on Google. And like I said, when I looked down on it, I thought it was pretty cool to see a lot of French fries that you could see were individual pieces of French fries baked into one solid mass that I could then slice and serve as if it were a casserole. Although I have no doubt that this casserole would be great for a meatless Monday or a vegetarian dinner, I think you could make this at any time of the year, even Thanksgiving. I'm sure it would be a conversation starter and a showstopper on any Thanksgiving table. As I already mentioned, and as you already saw, I made other versions of this recipe, so stay tuned for more French fry casseroles, because I know that you'll love them just as much as I did. As always, thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.